Welcome to the creative side of things,
where we empower and inspire business owners and entrepreneurs to tap into their inner creative,
from standing out in saturated markets
to debunking and challenging the status quo.
We'll learn firsthand from actual small business owners how they've applied creativity, imagination, and common sense to grow their businesses. I'm Javier, Chief Creator and founder of High Ground Creative.
And I'm Megan, founder and CEO of Cheek & Co Clothing.
I'm Gen X and her dad.
I'm Gen Z and his favorite daughter.
Oh, that's debatable.
Well, it's not up for debate. Together we are creative thinkers,
design experts,
branding gurus,
imagination igniters,
and coffee addicts. Keep listening and we'll prove it to you.
Hey, you might learn something.
Imagine that.
Ready?
Let's get creative. Friday ASMR. My ice is melted thanks to Starbucks per usual.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so let's go ahead and start. We are back. We are back, everybody. Welcome to the creative side of things, a podcast like no other. We've been getting so many things. Welcome, everybody. Good to see everybody. This young lady over here is...
I'm Megan.
Megan, and this is Javier. My name is Javier. Father-daughter, mega duo. But look, we've done a few things. We launched officially out there. The world knows about this, even though as we record, getting great
really awesome feedback. We're doing a giveaway. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and it's such a really cool thing to see people responding to this. And I'm excited because we're putting out content, information, valuable things that you can take and apply to your life right away. And that's our goal for you to help you grow personally and professionally, to give you inspiration and motivation and empower
and inspire. Today is not necessarily a heavy topic, but it needs to be talked about. And that's a big reason why we have this podcast, is to talk about things business owners don't.
For sure. And this is something that's really interesting. And tell us the topic.
Hustle culture.
Good or bad? Good or bad, right? Is it more harmful than helpful? That's a question we're going to be talking about today. What say you? Let us know what you think about this. But we have our opinions. We have our points of view. I think I'm suspecting, Megan, that today, maybe not, but our generational differences might have a different point of view about what this means or not. We're not trying to push anybody in any direction or pigeonhole anybody, but let's go ahead and dive in. So in a nutshell,
what hustle culture means constantly working. And America is known for that. I just watched a TikTok the other day, and this girl, she moved to Italy and she had to retrain herself to live slow because America just lives really fast.
Right.
And she had to kind of adapt to just enjoying and living slow.
And that's a big deal because what's happening out there is what we're seeing is that people are glamorizing the hustle.
Yeah.
Don't knock the hustle. Hustle is something that is a badge of honor. So from my generation, we call it workaholics. For those of you that are part of my but the hustle is something that it's being used like about embracing the hustle. Do you have a side hustle? So Megan, I want give us your point of view, your thoughts as they come out organically here, and let us know what do you think about all this.
The word hustle got popular for my generation not too long ago. I would say right after I graduated high school, I was noticing that word be cool. Like it was a cool word. Like you wanted to hustle. Like I saw quotes that had hustle in it, like for entrepreneurs, for motivation. Like it was a positive word. It has developed into a negative because people are taking it too seriously. I used to use it in my quotes on Instagram. Like I didn't see any negative with it because I was a young entrepreneur who just had to do that in order to get where I am. Like I had to work a lot. So glamorizing it benefited me in my brain because I was, even though it like sucks, I was like glamorizing hustle because hustle equals money. Like that's what I thought. But that's not true now that I've, learned how to organize and be real. And I think with hustle, the issue is it's fake. when people show their quote unquote hustle online, it's them like sugarcoating it.
Okay, so let's stop there because there's a lot to unpack here. Okay, on point. So people are glamorizing it.
Yes.
They are, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't hustle and you don't go at it fifth gear all the time, that's a bad thing. That's what culture is saying. We're not saying it's right. We're just saying that that's what's happening. Two more things. And mindset, it's become a mindset. This is where I think it's dangerous. A philosophy, but it's also becoming a value. You know, we have our core values. Yeah. I've heard people say that one of their core values is hustle.
Yeah, hustle does not equal success. You can hustle, and make no money.
Right.
So, but one thing, if we were doing this episode a few years ago, it would be a different topic. I think people are knowing now it's bad. Like, it's finally, everyone's like cringed by it. Mm-hmm. We're like, no, let's not use this word anymore. Like the past year to 2 years, I think when, it's funny how I kind of gauge thing as like pre and after COVID, like pre-COVID. And
wow,
I think
that's a good point.
Really taught us, like it made us all stop. Like we literally had to stop.
So let's dive into that because that's a really good point. Our culture changed for 2 years.
Yeah.
And it went back to normal, whatever that is. But for 2 years, most people were in a cocoon and were restless because they were stuck in a place. So this kind of flared up, right? The idea of I built a side hustle or I did this while this was happening.
I think in a different way, I think the opposite. I think what happened is when that hit and we were all quarantined, we got used to, hey, I was able to still make money not working as much. And now we're getting used to that, which is okay. And we're like my fiance's job realized like it's okay if our staff is working from home 2 days a week. Like they're actually doing more work. Like it kind of humbled us to realize that like having that vacay time, like having time to yourself, having downtime is actually beneficial to your quote unquote hustle in the long run.
Okay. So we've established that. So can we agree?
It sucks.
That
bad.
Hustle culture is harmful.
It's bad.
So it's bad for our mental health, right? It's
yes.
bad physically for us. What happens? What does somebody have when they're in this mindset and this is how they live, that they lack? First word, I'll say a word and maybe that'll stir up some thoughts in you. Balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Boundaries, no boundaries.
Okay.
Hustle culture can go into allowing someone to reach out to you, like as a business owner at midnight and answering them and thinking that's okay. Right. Not turnaround time for answering. My friend just messaged me the other day. She said, this person reached out to me and said, hey, I emailed you a week ago, haven't heard back. Like, and she had checked and they emailed her the day before. And so there's this, like, you got to create those boundaries. It's okay to take a few business days to reach back out to someone.
Right. And when that doesn't happen, people, they get mad at you. Like, that's poor customer service, which is actually ridiculous.
Yeah. And like Amazon Prime teaching people like this quick turnaround time. And then it hurts business owners because they expect the same from us. And I'm like, no. I can't ship your order literally seconds after you order. Like it's just me working.
Well, okay. So I have a suggestion. Maybe you should offer a Prime membership over at Chica & Co.
It's going to be a lot of money.
Okay. So we can say that people think they're productive. You said that when you are going.
It makes you feel like you're moving forward, right. But you could just be in the same spot. Like you really have to dissect what that means. And like, I read this quote here. It really stood out to me. It says, welcome to hustle culture. It is obsessed with striving, relentlessly positive, stood out to me. And it says, once you notice it, impossible to escape. The relentlessly positive really humbled me because it's easy to feel like as a business owner, you have to share this certain way of life to look like you have your self together. And you end up being positive when you're not feeling positive. And that can be really negative on your company because I got so much feedback the other week when I just was real with them and was sharing what I was struggling with. And they were like, thank you for sharing this. Like I'm dealing with this too. And people want the negative.
Yeah, they want to see
the
authenticity.
Yeah, exactly.
Be real and not pose. Posers, I always say expose the posers.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is a lot of people, I think, asleep here or in a thinking that this is actually the way it needs to be, and we're saying it's not the way to be. If you're an entrepreneur, there's a pace of that you need to go, but there's a difference between rushing something and hustling. And the way I see hustle, the right definition of that word, is actually positive. I used to play baseball through college, and there's a player called Pete Rose, so they call him Charlie Hustle. And they used to tell us, you need to hustle to the bases. When you go in position, you hustle. That means you're not walking, you're just jogging, but you're not sprinting, right? So what's happening now is people have glamorized the hustle and make it look, but we're saying, slow down. It's okay to downshift. It's okay to.
There's going to be hustle seasons and then laid back seasons too. Like if you treat the word the way it should be, it can be positive. Like you don't want to not ever hustle, but there's seasons for that. So I think our point is like, it's okay to keep up, to, try and keep up as a business owner, keep up with trends, keep up with, the flow of what's happening, but, don't do too much.
No, don't do, and listen to yourself. Listen to what's happening in your body, to your mental health. Mental health is obviously very important, but it's something that's been highlighted in recent years a lot, which is very important. I'm so glad that it is. And this has contributed to people's mental health in the negative. So work-life balance, which is kind of a weird word. I don't believe it's attainable, but I do believe that balance is different for everybody. But I think it's working smart, not working hard.
Smart, yeah, exactly. Because here's an example. I work from home. There's boundaries I have to create for myself, like don't work in bed, because then my brain connects my bed to work instead of rest. So I have an office that I need to force myself to use when I'm working and not in my house. I should separate the two.
That's a good discipline.
Like you have a home office.
I do have a home
but
office.
If you end up always working in bed, could hurt you.
No, correct. And we even did this with your sister. She works for High Ground for my company and part-time and goes to school. And her classes, I asked her, go take your virtual classes at the office here so she can get dressed and get out of bed and do that. And then when she's done, then she can clock in and come to work. And that's helped her a lot. It's been very helpful. So, we need to be very cognizant of these things so we don't get caught up in that mindset that can be harmful to us. And that's not only in hustle.
Like when's
culture,
the last
but
time you just went outside and just enjoyed being outside, or
smelling the roses,
being a human being? Like maybe change your surroundings. So for me, if I do have some things to work on, instead of being stuck in my little hermit house, I'm going to go to a local coffee shop. I'm supporting small. I'm surrounded by humans. One thing that helped me a lot, I'm going to tell you guys to do this. If you're someone who goes and gets a morning coffee, let's not use the drive-through. Let's not use the mobile app. Let's park, go inside and talk to a person and order. Yep. Like, let's just human interaction.
And that's human. That's so necessary. We have been isolated for so long, and it's not enough to interact with people when they're little boxes on a screen. Yeah. I love how in many capacities, the byproduct of what COVID did with making the world smaller so we have more people accessible. But that is an aid. It is a help. It's not a replacement for real interaction.
And that went right into me having to start doing pop-ups, because what's happened is everyone was online shopping during that time. And then now people are almost seeking the in-person. They need that interaction. So instead of, being all like, oh, woe is me, no, my online sales are down, adapt. I'm going to show up in person, and I actually love it. I love meeting my customers, and I'm sure you get a lot more out of meeting a client face to face than on the phone.
I do. And it's
so important.
It is hugely important. You mentioned something that now we want to shift it to things that we can do. So we're not only giving you things, but and bringing out attention to things that are needed to be brought attention to, but we want to give solutions and recommendations.
Yes,
so
I have a few.
Ms. Expert, what are some suggestions that you can use to help people snap out of that mindset.
One thing that helps me that might sound really simple, but it makes a huge difference is the do not disturb button on your phone. It shows someone that you have it on too, which kind of creates a boundary there. If you have something to get done, set the phone aside. Like that is a huge thing for me. I also have it turned on that when I hit a 4-hour mark of I spent 4 hours today on my social medias, it'll turn all my social medias off.
Okay. Wow,
and it's really humbling how quick you hit that 4-hour mark. I'm like, oh God. I'm like, okay, I need to check myself and stop touching my phone. And anytime I don't want to be alone with my thoughts. Like,
no, that's 4 hours seems like a lot, but it isn't these days. It feels like
that can add up like 4 hours, and then you're already sleeping like 6 to 8. I mean, there's your whole day. Like you got to put the phone aside.
That's hugely.
It's scary the way.
We all need to hear what she's saying here. Listen to her. I'm hearing it. She's telling herself, because we all struggle with this, and that's part of this mindset. If I disconnect, what am I going to miss?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What if I miss something, right?
And biggest thing I learned is, guess what? Your customers aren't going anywhere. If you take a vacation, they're going to be right there when you get back. And that was hard to learn.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I have one to contribute to this. I call this personally wilderness time to go. I like to go and retreat and go to solitude and be by myself.
Or nature.
You
like walking.
Yeah, walking in nature, doing that, going into a place where, and it doesn't have to be days and, becoming Robinson Crusoe or something in some island. Although sometimes that's not a bad idea.
We need like a nature sound effect.
Oh, I know.
we'll add it next time. No, don't touch nothing. Do not touch anything.
I know. When I get in trouble when I start touching these buttons.
I need to take over the board.
Okay. So for me is going out and getting away to get it together. And getting away doesn't have to be, again, a day. It could be 3 hours. It's just unplugging. And a big part of that is unplugging.
And you might think you're losing time, but imagine you didn't do that. What you're creating isn't going to be as good as when you came back from that.
Oh, for sure.
You're going to be a lot more refreshed. And
I'm going to bring something up that for a guest we just had, Melissa Hergert from Brain Train Centers, and please listen to that episode. It's incredibly insightful about
knowing your brain
and what's happening in your brain. You might feel tired, but you might not feel tired, but your brain can be tired. So we have to now, I've adjusted my caffeine intake, my water intake, upping that and understanding. Sleeping. What did she say? If you're not sleeping, you're not healing.
Yeah. Sleep could fix so many things need more. Like you might think something is going on, but try sleep first, and a lot of things are going to fix themselves.
They do. And you're not, so many things emotionally, all these things, and you'll have more energy to be able to focus on certain things that if you are running yourself to the ground.
And our mom entrepreneurs, our parents listening who are business owners, I know it's hard to get that sleep if you're taking care of a newborn, but you really need to, communicate with your partner, find ways to make sure you're getting a good night's sleep, make sure you're taking care of yourself first, because it can spiral really quick.
Right. And you can't get what you don't have. So what if you're run down? You're not good to anybody if you have lost heart, if you're tired, if you're frustrated, if you're just down because you're not taking care of yourself. As well-intended as you might be to do more, sometimes throttling down and downshifting, it allows you to get to that fifth gear when in those seasons that it's needed. I'm
going to call myself out. Here's one thing that I'm going to share that's advice, but I need to take my own advice, is saying no. I say yes to everyone and everything because I don't want to let people down, or I just want to be of help. And then it comes time and everything's on top of one another. And I'm like, why did I put myself into this?
That's one of the most powerful words in the English language is no.
You always taught me when I would need to ask someone something, you'd be, the worst they're going to say is no. And no is okay. No, you taught me that. And I always come back to that when I have to ask someone something.
You listen to me.
Yes, I do
she
listen.
Listen to me.
I might roll my eyes in the process, but I'm listening.
That is
because getting no, receiving no can be scary. So it's hard to give it if you're afraid of it. So here's your permission. You can say no.
So I know we're going. It's all related.
I think it's all connected really well.
If you think about it, I'm going to be silly about the no thing. If you're a waitress or a waiter and you're like, hey, you want some ketchup?
No.
Now, are you going to go in? Are you going to fall over into a fetal position because they said no to you? Go to the next one.
You're probably going to be relieved they said no. You're like, oh, good.
So it's not a big deal. Just, keep going, keep moving forward. Don't take it so personal.
I have a question for you. How, in the audience, how can hustle culture show up at work and in everyday life? Like, how do you feel that affects you in a negative way here, like at the office, like hustle culture?
Well, okay. So you're asking me?
Yes.
Oh, that's not nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So for me is I realize being, running my company that people are looking at me to see what I'm doing. So if I'm in a bad mood, I know people have their own control of their own emotions, but I'm very careful about bringing that here. If I'm feeling something, so I'm not saying I'm going to hide that, but at the same time, so the answer to your question is, if they see that hustle
is getting to you,
they might try to emulate that hustle, and it doesn't do them any good. So I try to, I do very purposefully always just set the pace and lead the right way. So then if they're emulating, they're seeing that they don't feel this pressure of like, you see a lot of folks as like, well, I don't want to leave my office because my boss is there till 6 o'clock. So I feel if I leave before my boss.
Like, did they tell you that's a problem?
No,
then do it.
Yeah, exactly.
What's the worst they're going to say is no.
It's okay to leave. If your job is for this, now if you have a boss that's saying you have to do this, that's another conversation. But one thing I do is I work all the time, but I don't work in here all the time. And I say all the time, there is balance. I'm working on that, but I go home and I do things because if I'm here, I don't want to apply that
You're
pressure.
accessible to everyone if you're
Absolutely.
here too.
I usually leave 20 minutes after everybody does anyway here, but I get home, I get settled, and I go on. Did I answer a question?
I think so. Well, I wanted to throw in, there's those of us who do have some anxiety with that boundary of no. I look up to my fiance Trevor so much. He does not give a crap what anyone. So like if he wants to take off, he'll just message his boss and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to take off tomorrow." And she'll say like, "Okay." And okay without an AY would stress me. I would think about that for like 5 more days. I'd be like, "Why'd she say okay like that? Is she mad? Am I not allowed to take a day off?"
To me,
and he's like, "I don't care. She said okay, so it's okay." And I'm like, "But she didn't put an exclamation point." I'm like, "She's mad." And
you did that to me the other day. I said something like, or maybe it was your mom. Okay,
we all do it.
Sorry, honey. I said K.
Yeah, K. Don't say K to anyone. It's mean.
I know.
No, I die. But you see what I mean? So if you're listening and you do that, no, it's something I need to like grow up about. If I wish I knew this quote more specifically, but it went along the lines of, if someone didn't give you a reason for them being upset, if someone didn't tell you that they're upset, then they're not upset. Like, don't dwell on what someone else is dealing with if they haven't come to you about it. It's not your problem.
Exactly.
So that's something that goes right into hustle culture, believe it or not.
Yeah, because we create this reality that's actually
that
doesn't
exist.
There,
yeah, exactly.
So be nice to yourself. There's a word that keeps coming up to me in mind. It could be an entire episode or more. It's self-awareness. Mm-hmm. So we have to understand what our impact is on others in this culture that's being built here, and at the same time, what is that culture doing to us? In the impact of others to us, and be very, understanding about this, but also be able to, that helps you maneuver through things, what to do, what not to do. I have a question. You talked about boundaries earlier.
Yes, very important.
So
something I'm still learning to this day.
So how do you, so the lesson here or what we ask folks to suggest is to bring clarity to what those are. So if we don't know what those are,
that's true. If you're not, sharing your boundaries, you can expect people to abide by them.
Right. So they're just going
to. They don't know better. Mm-hmm. So it could be as simple as your Facebook hours being, some people don't even have them set. It says open all day. Something like that. Another boundary, and I'm talking about business boundaries. So sending people to email only. With all these platforms, I'll get on my personal Facebook, I'll get a message for business. And I'm like, I don't know how you even found me on here, but here's my email, here's my website. Let's keep it professional.
Well, you're nowhere online, because you can never, if you want to find Meghan, I know how you find Meghan.
That's my issue, is there's a negative to that, to being accessible to everyone. So I do have to create those boundaries. If it's a business inquiry, please email me. Let's not use my personal Facebook, okay? Let's keep that personal.
Listen, do not, if you need a return or there's an issue with the size of a shirt, Send her
It's
an
just a
email.
respect thing.
Yeah, I think so.
I've gotten a photography inquiry through Cheek & Co clothing. Like, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't understand. Like, they messaged me on my clothing company business for photography. I was like, wrong one.
Well, I'm going to turn this around. I am going to totally turn this around. I would say, and I would challenge you or anybody, if that happens to you, you don't, if you answer, then you're enabling.
Yes.
So there's a discipline, even though it's there. I know it's very difficult. Somebody reaches out and you see it.
But you have to create that boundary, like you said.
Right.
They don't know. So then they're like, oh, yeah, sorry, I didn't see your email here. Okay, I'll message you there. I wanted to recommend doing an 80 to 20 analysis. So is 20% of my actions giving 80% of my results? And that's a good way to maintain your hustle, that hustle culture. You want to, the perfect goal in life is doing less and making more, right? Like that's like dream. So really like dissect what you're doing when it comes to your schedule and like really see, can I outsource this? Can I create a boundary here? And reach out to us if you're confused, if you need some help, if we feel like you need a boundary somewhere, like, comment in one of our posts and we'll help you
please.
here.
We want to start,
we're here to help.
Let's discuss. We want this to be a platform for us to discuss. I know we're just getting started with these things, but we want to create this soon. We're going to be creating some ways to communicate with us more often. And so we can have this real discussions on this.
Yeah.
Not just liking. I love share and stuff, but make a comment. We want to
talk about it.
We want to talk about it because this is important stuff. These are things that are dictating. If you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or even have a side hustle and have your job, which is very challenging, but is something, we have to be paying attention to that balance and making those boundaries. And I'm saying that to myself, and I'm listening to you, Megan, because I know it's all of us we're not talking here like we've arrived. We're with you. I'm
dealing with this myself. Absolutely.
Day.
And I think it makes it easier to talk about if you're in it. Mm-hmm. I don't think it'll ever be completely fixed. I'm always going to be working on myself to say no, but at least I'm checking to myself and I know what's happening and I can fix it. Another thing I wanted to kind of like end is I think it's really important to separate yourself from your business and find hobbies and things you love and make sure you're doing those. Do you feel like, for example, graphics, it's always like, what do you enjoy most in your business that you could take away? I know you like painting, for example.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go.
Yeah.
I've always said I always wanted to paint, but not for profit. I'm good at painting and watercolors, mix of media.
His pictures look like photos. We'll have to show them on stories. They're so cool.
And that's something that helps me with mindfulness and being focused in that. And that's something that I need to make more time for. But I went ahead a few months ago and bought a new paint set, and I've done a few things. Great. Yeah.
That's so nice.
So, but yeah, that's what I want to do and make more time to do that. So whatever that is for you.
I feel like entrepreneurs struggle with, you find a hobby, right? And you're like, can I monetize
that
this?
could put that on.
Stop doing that. I do that all the time.
I can make prints and put them on Shopify. And
I'm like, believe it or not, I can make a bracelet and not sell it, Megan. Like, stop. I'm so money hungry, I swear.
No, we're just serial entrepreneurs. Yeah. We want to continue to do that. But you're right.
I do that all the time. I'm like, I don't have to make money off of everything.
I know. This is a struggle, people. We struggle with this too.
I'm going to just throw that out. So if you feel called out, comment.
But right. And we're not glamorizing this. We're laughing because it is ironically funny.
Yeah.
Not because it's
I don't have to sell everything.
We don't. You understand, people?
I started out entrepreneurship at 17, so it's really hard to get off of that.
So I think we're in a good place.
Yeah, I love what we talked about, and I'm checking myself right now. Mm-hmm. I'm excited for the quotes that are coming out of this episode. It might hit people where they need to hear it.
There's some good dimes that we brought here. So how can we end this in the positive? I know it's a positive conversation. So what can we say that empowers and inspires somebody out there?
Oh, no pressure. Say no.
Say no.
Literally.
The lesson of today is say no. It's okay to say no, and if they don't like it, they can go take a flying leap.
So say no and go create something.